Today we have a special treat. We're going to make our own bacon. And we're going to do that by starting with a raw pork belly. Ideally, you'd love to get a fresh, raw, unsliced, no skin on, never frozen pork belly, but I've not been able to find that. All the butchers in our area here can sell you a pork belly, but it's frozen and it has the skin on it. But that's okay, we can work with that. So this came entirely frozen. I've let it thaw under some cool water for about an hour. And the first thing we're going to do is take this skin off. And then we're going to let it soak into two different kinds of cure in order to get two different kinds of flavor. This is about a 6-pound piece of pork belly. I'm going to cut it in half so I'll have two 3-pound portions. And that'll allow me to do two different flavored cures for my bacon. One is going to be a traditional brown sugar cure. This includes brown sugar, black pepper, and then so-called pink salt or Prague powder. Again, that's a form of sodium nitrite that allows the bacon to cure as we let it sit in the refrigerator for probably about a week. Secondly, we're going to use maple syrup. And I mean real live maple syrup from trees, not xanthan gum, maple flavored syrup, corn syrup. This is the real deal, taken out of trees in the great Northeast part of our country. We lived in Vermont for a couple of years, and I can tell you it's a lot of work to go into this little tub of maple syrup. That's why this is $11 for 1 pint. Thank goodness our cars don't run in that. Let's take a look at our pork belly. So this is the skin here. And as you can tell, it's really thick on the side. Now if you look at the other side, this looks more like what you're used to seeing for bacon. And again, this little edge right along here is what we're going to have to separate to get the skin away from the meat. So let me show you where we're at. I've started to separate the skin from the bacon, which is this part down here. And that's the good part. That's the part we want to keep. And so really it's just a matter of taking the skin. And look how thick that skin is. If you've ever wondered why pigs can run around in the woods and not get hurt, it's pretty easy to see when you look at how thick the skin is. So we've just taken this back some more and we've just rolled it back. And let me give you a little helpful hint. Take a paper towel, use it to grab the skin, and that way it makes it easier for you to pull, because the key here is to keep traction on the skin as you pull back. Now we're dissecting here with our knife, just trying to pull it back a little bit at a time. Be careful. Let's take stock where we are. Skin is now entirely separated from the bacon part. This is all skin that if you wanted to make cracklings, knock yourself out. I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm just going to go with a good old bacon right here. And I'm going to divide it here into roughly, I don't know, 2 even 3-pound portions. Again, you can start to see how this is going to be some really nice bacon. Look at that. All right, now that I've got my cure all stirred up, I'm just going to take this piece of bacon, pork belly, I guess technically at this point, put it in a nice bag, label it plain, which means not maple syrup, and then just pour this in here. Make sure everything's all nice and dissolved. Now you want to get all the air out so this thing swims in the fluid for the whole week that it's in the refrigerator. Jiggle it around, get it all mixed up, get that pepper and salt in there so it can penetrate the meat. And then we're just going to put this in the refrigerator. I'll do the same thing except for the other one. I'm going to add half a cup of maple syrup and put it in there, and then we'll be done for a week. Okay, so it's been a week. Our 2 pieces of pork belly have been sitting in cure. So what I've taken them, I've washed them off, patted them dry, and then I've put them on the big green egg here, where we're going to be at 200 degrees for probably 3 to 4 hours. As you can see, they're a lot more firm than they are when they went into the cure. These were in the cure for 1 week. They've been on the smoker now for a little bit of time, and we're going to let them just sit here and smoke. They're going to smoke at 200 degrees. And you can see right there on the big green egg at 200 degrees. I've got the flue just barely open, and I've also got the side vent And we use some cherry wood chips that we soaked in some water. And so now we just wait for it to get to the internal temperature of 150 degrees. Okay, it's been about 3 hours. And as you can see, our pork bellies are at about 150 degrees internal temperature. That means the meat is now pasteurized and safe. Even though it was cured, it was probably safe before. This is sort of a belts and suspenders approach to make sure you don't have any problems with botulism. Now that the pork bellies are done, they're nice and firm. They're fully cooked through. So we're going to take them off, let them rest, wrap them up, put them in the refrigerator, and after about 4 hours, they'll be ready for slicing.